Hello, my name is Amarjot Singh, and I'm a ICCRC consultant based in Edmonton, Alberta. And today I'm about to talk about the marriage sponsorship interview in an application to bring an overseas spouse or inland spouse if there's an interview. As you look at the screen, the title itself is very clear, self-explanatory. What are these visa officers looking for? I mean, what do they want? How do they assess people? It's an about 11-page document. You can read through it, but what I want to do in this video is to discuss those background questions. What are they asking? What exactly are they looking for? So take a look at on the screen. Now, by the way, these are all not comprehensive factors, but these are some of the important factors that, of course, directly or indirectly, they are trying to find out. So the number one is previous immigration history. If an applicant, let's say, the sponsor is in Canada, sponsor who's a Canadian citizen and PR, and the applicant is overseas, just to be simplistic for assessment right now, overseas sponsorship. So if the overseas based principal applicant has previous immigration history, that means he or she, for this discussion, I'm just going to use, let's say, a wife. So if she has applied to Canada many times as a tourist visa, student visa, or work visa, or some other kind of visa, and she has been trying repeatedly to enter Canada, successfully or unsuccessfully, does not matter. That immigration history will become a part of assessment for marriage sponsorship as well. So let's put it this way. If it looks like for a variety of reasons the applicant is trying to enter Canada and is unsuccessful, and all of a sudden we have a marriage suddenly in haste, and now it looks like that uh, a marriage sponsorship route is the way to go for the applicant to enter Canada. This will be a factor that the visa officer will wonder, oh, okay, well, this will give her the benefit to go to Canada as as an immigration category. So let's look at the whole picture. Is this part of the whole attempt to enter Canada, or is it standalone, solid, genuine, bona fide marriage? So that's where they will make a comparison. So that is what the point number one is: previous immigration history. Number two, dates and circumstances of all meetings, ceremonies, and later events related to cohabitation. Now, when you fill up this application form, usually they will ask you dates. When did you meet? How did you meet? Who introduced you? Or did you know each other before you, met formally, leading to, maybe engagement and marriage? They want to know what were the circumstances, or who created all this situation by which two people are meeting. In some cultures there's a arranged marriage, in other cultures maybe people are marrying over distance on the phone or internet, or where situations are where somebody else is arranging their marriage, even though both parties are separately geographically or otherwise. So the visa officer want to know what are the circumstances, how did it all happen, and then later what was the engagement. I mean, what happened in the engagement ceremony, who attended, who did not attend, in the marriage ceremonies, how many people came in, what really transpired in the marriage ceremonies, and later events, and what happened after the marriage. For example, maybe honeymoon or shopping trip or together or living together for some time, or maybe perhaps the sponsor from the Canada came and he left quickly, leaving the wife, and there's little contact after that. So they're looking at all those situations to understand, does it look like a typical, in that society, in that country, typical couple behavior, or it looks like out of norm. So that's what they're looking at. Look at number three: level of knowledge the principal applicant PA has about the wife and in-laws. It's like in this case the PA is the husband, and the wife is a sponsor. So it doesn't matter whoever the PA is. Both husband and wife, both the partners, how much do they know about each other? What are the habits? What do they do on a daily basis? Their education, their jobs, the daily schedule, etc., etc. And all the things in the family. I mean, can you imagine? Let's say in a traditional society where a wife after marriage is living with her in-laws. And at the time of the interview, when the visa officer wants to inquire how many members are there in the family, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and stuff, and father-in-law, and if the principal applicant, the wife, does not know anything or have little knowledge, as reflected by having a short stay, or if she was staying with a longer duration, and she does not know anything or not much about where she is living, I think that will cast a suspicion on what her relationship is, or whether she's actually living there, or whether she is kind of linked with the family itself. All these factors are just to give an idea whether this is a real, genuine marriage, so to say, and that's how they make a judgment. I mean, this is one of the many factors, if not the factor, right? So that's what it is. Look at number 4, previous marital history of the principal applicant. If the person has been married many times, let's say one, twice. I've seen a case where principal applicant was married and divorced about 4 times, and they had 3 or 4 children, one from first marriage, 2 children from the third marriage, and stuff, and so forth. If it's happening that the principal applicant has had multiple marriages, and especially with maybe Canadian sponsors, and they were trying to immigrate to Canada using one of those previous sponsorship as in the number one factor, I think that's going to raise a little red flag on what the actual true intentions are of this person. And that's what the visa officer will try to see, if the current sponsorship is genuine enough or not. So that's also something of a part of the assessment. Look at number 5, discrepancy between what has been written on the forms and what is being said in the interview. Very frequently I've seen, on the forms, for example, the address history will say that the principal applicant is living in a certain place, and when she's asked in the interview, maybe perhaps she will not remember some information, because maybe she was assisted to fill the forms by somebody else, so that may cause discrepancy. On other case scenarios, I remember a lot of clients where they would be asked, when did you meet the sponsor? When did you meet your husband? And the wife would say, oh, I met her, I'm sorry, I met him on March 3rd or something. Actually, when the visa officer looks at the forms will say something else, some other dates. And occasionally when the husband is also brought into the interview, sometimes it happens, and the husband will say a different date. If there's an inconsistency between what those two parties are saying and what is actually written on the forms, that will take away most of the credibility of the interview, and I think it will be an uphill battle from there to win the interview. So there absolutely has got to be no discrepancy between what those both parties are saying and what is written on the forms. That is why I always advise both the parties to actually read the application material multiple times so that they know exactly what is written on the forms. Number 6, circumstances of development of the marriage, which is more or less like number 2, but they're trying to find out what was the intent and motivation of people to come together and do this marriage thing and later the sponsorship. So in several occasions where it looks like that marriage was hastily arranged with no previous background of how it was connected, how the two parties came together. I think again there's a big red flag. The visa officer must be thinking, we are not sure why this marriage took place. Perhaps maybe to immigrate to Canada. So that's another red flag. Look at number 7, contact with sponsor and proof of communication both before and after marriage. So after marriage or even before marriage, both the husband and wife are in contact with each other. I mean, ideally they should be in contact. If they have no contact, then that's a red flag. If they are in contact, then how the contact is being through WhatsApp, Skype, phone calls, maybe love letters, YouTube, Skype conference, FaceTime, or maybe cohabitation. Maybe the sponsor is coming to live with the fiance many times or frequently. That's what they want to find out. How is the cohabitation, if there's a cohabitation, and how do they remain in contact? Plus, I would also even go further. If they are in contact, what do they actually talk? What do they communicate on? Are they talking about trivial things, or are they talking about like future plans as a couple after they get married and stuff? So that is what the visa officer is looking at. Uh, uh, Another related activity is number 8, proof of joint activity by both as married couple, of course, which we know. Whatever the couple does on a daily basis, I mean, if they are working together, or if somebody's taking household responsibility, the other is working, or the way they function as a couple in that society where they are, that is what the visa officer is looking at. Are they behaving as a married couple, or they are not, or if there's some deviation, and that's something. If there's a red flag, they will they'll kind of, it's like the points for the interview goes down. And I mean, if they are not behaving as a joint couple, the visa officer is really now reconsidering whether something he should approve or not. Look at number 9, delay in filing of application post marriage. If after the marriage there's a huge amount of delay, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, something, the visa officer must be thinking, what was the real motivation? Were they really connected, or was there a hesitation in filing for sponsorship, or what was going on? What was the reason why it was delayed? Maybe there were second thoughts of the marriage. Maybe the contact between the commitment between husband and wife was not so strong enough, leading to actual sponsorship. So it could be a variety of factors, but they want to know exactly what was the delay. Look at number 10, presence of any deviation from current societal norms, like difference in religion, age, economic status. If there's a big drastic change and difference in like an inter-caste marriage, inter-religion marriage, or age difference, or somebody from a different economic status, I think the visa officer wants to know what led to their union. I mean, how did they come together despite these differences? So those are the 10 tips that I think is quite important. Let's look at something else. A lot of people ask me that whether we should a traditional wedding and spend a lot of money, bring a lot of guests, 1,000 or plus a guest on the in the wedding banquet, or bridegroom's party or so. Is that something that will impress? No, not at all. I don't agree. I don't subscribe to the view that the big lavish wedding has anything to do with the success of the immigration sponsorship application. I don't think it's important at all. These 10 points, what I mentioned, I think they are quite comprehensive enough for the visa officer to tell him, what the genuineness of the marriage is, and not just these factors only. So I think this is a repeat of all those more or less these the same factors. The refusal, if it's refused, what are the reasons why the application can be refused? So this is more or less the same thing. And look at the again. Refusal can be based on lack of conclusive facts and satisfactory evidence of existence of established marital relationship, the hasty nature of proposal, the differences in age, the applicant's scant knowledge of the appellant, particularly regarding her previous divorces, children, job, friends, etc. Applicant's scant interest in appellant's past in certain subjects. The applicant's only plans for the future with the appellant are economic in nature, intended to improve his situation. So that's number 6 is quite clear. If the principal applicant wants to go to Canada just to better himself or herself, and there's no relevance to joint progress or joint activity as a couple, then that's a big no-no for this bona fides of the marriage itself. So that's what the points are. What are the documents? They are looking at some documents for you to bring, and I hope you may have submitted at the time of the original package itself. So they're looking at joint bank accounts, credit cards, or financial accounts. If you have residential property, which is you own or maybe mortgage, or residential lease, rental receipts, utilities account, and on the joint name, perhaps you're living together, you have a ration card or electricity bill or water bill or some other kind of bill on a joint account basis. Number 6 they are looking for is who is managing the household expenditure. If somebody, out of these two parties, husband, wife, if one person is doing all the expenditure, or they are divided, or how are the household finances running? Are they running like typical what is being run in that society as a couple? Number 7, evidence of joint purchase, especially of household items. So the evidence of again the topic just repeated, evidence about nature of household for marital relationship. So look at number 7, evidence of joint purchase, correspondence addressed to each other, both parties at the same address. Important documents, number 9, important documents showing the same address as ID documents, driver license, insurance. Number 10, shared responsibility for household management chores, etc. If you have children, evidence of children, both parties, and phone calls. So next one is same-sex spousal. Canada allows same-sex spousal sponsorship as well. The factors are same, doesn't matter, but that is a part of the same application. So that concludes more or less our thing. If you want to read, you can read the whole document. It's quite comprehensive and helpful. And these are when it goes to, if it's refused and it goes to appeal in the Immigration Refugee Board in Canada, the member, which is I call the judge, he or she is also looking at more or less the same documents. If the couple are looking at the screen, if the couple are living together in the same home as a couple, what is their sexual and personal behavior, whether the relationship is exclusive, committed, evidenced by emotional, intellectual, physical interaction, services, whether they are family type responsibility are shared, evidence of mutual assistance, social activities, whether the partners share time together, etc. Economic support, children, societal perception of the couple. So I encourage you to read the whole document, and if you have any specific question for me, you can ask me, and I can address it for you. All right. Thank you very much.